Hi, and welcome to another session of our Connect conference, The Power of Engagement in the Modern Classroom. My name is Gloria Niebergall, and my classroom experience and my last role as a K-5 literacy coach has led me to my current role here with Learning A to Z, which is a professional learning manager for the East region. In this session, we will talk about approachable ways to integrate the science of reading into your foundational literacy instruction. Our objectives for this session are to highlight top challenges that K-5 teachers face when teaching foundational skills. We will discuss the tenets of science of reading theory, and I will model some tips and strategies to incorporate supplemental science of reading-based systematic instruction into core literacy instruction. Before we get started on the objectives, I just want to remind us all of a pretty sad statistic. It's important to keep this statistic in mind during today's session because it's truly the reason why we all grapple around the topic of science of reading. Only 1/3 of US grade 4 students can read at or above grade level in the United States. Again, just something to think about and keep in our minds as we work around our session today. I'd like to begin by discussing some of the top challenges that K-5 educators face when teaching foundational skills. First, the planning time it takes to prepare those daily lessons. Being able to keep students interested and engaged in the lessons that we prepare. Providing focused time on daily explicit phonics instruction. And finally, ensuring that instruction is being provided on all critical foundational reading skills. Before we jump into a solution, let's take a look here at our ladder of reading. That way we kind of have a better understanding of why science of reading has come to the forefront. This chart basically highlights for us another interesting fact or statistic that truly only 5% of learning to read seems effortless. I'm sure many of us have heard, well, oh, this student just knows how to read. It's very rare that that actually is the case. What happens more often, and as you can see from the statistic provided here, 40 to 50% of students actually learn to read proficiently by having a code-based, explicit, systematic, and sequential instructional approach. Science of reading truly does benefit all students. Systematic and explicit instruction leads to greater gains for children in kindergarten through 5th grade. And our ladder of reading here just helps to, again, highlight that for us. Now, moving into the key tenets of the science of reading. For one, it is a curriculum that is explicit and systematic. You'll hear that a lot throughout the session. It's ensuring that the activities offered have varied practice modalities. It's ensuring that daily explicit phonics instruction is ingrained. And finally, having a scope and sequence that includes all 5 components of effective foundational skills instruction. You'll also see on this slide just a reminder of those foundational reading skills, or the top 5. They include phonological awareness, phonics, word recognition, print concepts, and fluency. They all work together for the end goal of comprehension for our readers. When we talk about putting the science of reading theory into practice, we talk about practice that includes the gradual release model, flexible instructional models, having assessments that help us as teachers to determine, evaluate, and identify skill needs, having comprehensive lesson plans that include review opportunities, and finally, having a scope and sequence that encourages learning acceleration for all students. I'd like to take those science of reading tenets, break them down for you now for the remainder of the session, and just show you an example of a solution that could possibly help. Let's start with the gradual release model. The gradual release model suggests that cognitive work should shift slowly and intentionally from teacher modeling to joint responsibility between teachers and students, to finally independent practice and application by the learner. Basically, an I do, we do, you do approach. I'd like to take you into our Foundations A to Z solution. To show you where the gradual release model is built in. From the Foundations A to Z homepage, you'll simply click on the menu bar, click on lesson plans, and today we're going to take a look at Module 1. I'm going to click on the first lesson here, reviewing words with initial S blends. If I scroll down, I see the gradual release model in action. There is an I do piece, a we do piece, and a you do piece. Each are broken down in 15-minute increments. If I click on each one, for example, the I do, I see the part of the lesson where the teacher is providing explicit instruction on a content-specific strategy or skill. If I click on the We Do guided practice section, here is where the teacher, with the help of the students, is beginning to apply that skill. The teacher can check for understanding here. The teacher may differentiate by whole group or small group. This is basically the guided practice part of the gradual release model. And finally, when students are ready for the You Do section or independent practice, students will have options to work independently to practice and apply the new concepts or skills. These digital resources may include videos, games, or reading resources for the child. Let's take a look at flexible instructional models. A flexible instructional model is the ability to have instructional opportunities for varied student groupings. That could include whole group, small group, or one-to-one. Let's go back into the solution that we took a sneak peek at, our Foundations A to Z. And let's take a look at this, where we have some flexible instructional models. I'm going to take a look at that same module. This time I'm going to put my focus on the You Do section once again. Just to remind you that there is a student area here where students can independently work. Plus, our student area right above offers different resources where a teacher can use their professional judgment and start breaking students up into small groups in order for them to practice the skill that's being taught in the module. In this particular module for the students, we have 4 sound work mats, image cards, a word practice sheet, graphing cards, word cards. Whiteboards is provided there as a reminder of how important those are to use in our instruction, and a reflection paper. Today, I'm going to click on the 4 sound work mat, and I'm just going to show you what that looks like. As you can see, there are annotation tools here just in case the teacher is using it in a whole group setting or even in a small group setting. And then the work mat is here to provide students the ability to use this to practice their S-Blend skill. Again, showing you this just to remind you of the importance of the best practice of having flexible instructional models. Next, formative assessments. We brought those up earlier. Again, being able to identify and evaluate the skill needs of our students and being able to check for understanding regularly within our teaching. So again, I'm going to bring you into the solution, into our Foundations A to Z, just to take a peek at where in the solution you can find formative assessment. We're going to go back again to that same module. This time, we're going to look at the materials and prep section for the teacher. Built into the materials and prep teacher section is something called an observation checklist. This one is specific to this unit, this module, and this lesson. So let's take a look. It provides for you as a teacher the different skills in the lesson that are being taught. It gives you a space to jot down when they were being taught. And then there's a chart here for you to put your student names and then to actually mark for yourself, how is the student doing with approaching mastery in this skill? Are they exceeding, meeting, or approaching the skill? Checklists like these built in really help a teacher to continually assess their students. Again, that is truly the goal of formative assessment, and it's one of our very best instructional practices. Moving on to the importance of having comprehensive lesson plans and what that actually means. Again, short, flexible lessons, 30 to 45 minutes daily. Lessons that have teacher and student ownership built in. Also, having multiple exposure and practice opportunities for the students through multi-channel and multi-sensory approaches. And finally, having activities that range from simple to complex so we can always encourage that acceleration of learning. So once again, let's go back into our platform and take a look at where we can see an example of these comprehensive lesson plans. I'm going to stay in our same lesson, the initial S-blends, and just being reminded that our end goal in reading instruction is always comprehension. And although we don't teach it in isolation, having comprehensive lesson plans helps us to meet our end goal. All of the modules in Foundations A to Z, or topics, and all of the books are aligned so that that knowledge building is there. Every lesson begins with talking about the topic, and then every lesson ends with speaking, listening, reading, and writing based on that topic. Again, reinforcing the language layer that we know is there for the science of reading. You can see that as we scroll through our lesson plan here. We have teacher objectives in just what the students will be able to do. Not only are they identifying sounds, they're decoding, they're reading and spelling, they're doing text work, they're reading words. They're also forming these letters in words, phrases, and sentences. So again, taking the skill, but being able to show transfer in other areas as well. That can also be seen in the student objectives and in our I do, we do, and you do. And finally, and most importantly, the scope and sequence challenge. Finding one that truly encourages learning acceleration, which is an ongoing instructional process by which educators engage in frequent, multiple opportunities for formative practices to improve students' access to and mastery of grade level standards. Having a scope and sequence that addresses the foundational skills components truly can help assist us in our quest for effective reading instruction. So once again, let's go into Foundations A to Z. But this time, I want to take a look at one of the scope and sequences. Again, I'll go back to my menu bar. I'll click on lesson plans. And this time under grade 1, we will click on grade 1 scope and sequence. As you can see here, all 5 effective foundational skills instruction pieces are built in to every module in this unit. We have phonological awareness, phonics, high frequency word, print concepts, and fluency, with the addition of handwriting and the language connection. This is helping us to meet that challenge of finding instruction that includes those necessary components of effective reading instruction, and really giving students multiple opportunities to practice the important foundational skills we are teaching them. And it really serves as an excellent guide for a teacher to know what to teach. That way, none of our important concepts are forgotten. Now that we've taken a look at some tips and some advice through the sneak peek at Foundations A to Z and how we can truly ensure we are having effective reading instruction, I want to just talk to you for a minute about building teacher confidence. Incorporating systematic instruction into your core literacy instruction doesn't have to be done alone. With the Foundations A to Z solution, we have included embedded professional development or on-demand professional development that teachers can use on their own to truly build their confidence in their reading teaching practices. We have expert videos, coaching videos, articles, and podcasts. Let's take a look. Back in my Foundations A to Z platform, once again, I'll go to my menu, and there is a section titled Professional Development. All I have to do is click on that. There are grade level options for the grade or grades that I teach, and there are resource type options. Once again, we have videos, podcasts, and articles that can help you in your quest in teaching reading. There's also a way to just put all, which is what we have here. You could see some of the expert videos, little video tutorials, articles, and a lot of them are short, little mini, almost micro lessons, just helping us feel more confident about what it is that we're doing. And again, reinforcing the importance of teaching those foundational skills. Look at it like help when you need it most. I would also like to draw your attention to a great place to really start your journey with science of reading. I'm sure that all of us as educators are at different points with science of reading. With this link, it will take you to basically a journey page. Where are you on your journey with science of reading? There is an assessment that you can take that helps guide you through the different steps of your science of reading journey. Step 1, understanding what you need to know. This goes through different tips on learning how to implement research-based instruction in your classroom. Step 2, taking your students where they need to go. This will help you learn how to turn research into practice and help you meet your students' individual needs, increase their engagement, and really set them up for academic reading success. Step 3 talks about finding a partner you can trust, and it talks about how here at Learning A to Z, we can assist you with your quest. Step 4 is how district initiatives and state standards can be linked to best practice. And finally, step 5, resources to guide you on your journey, helping you understand the importance of teaching foundational skills, solidifying the why, and also helping you learn how to jumpstart your foundational skills instruction. A really nice way for you to start off on your journey with science of reading and practices in your classroom. And I just want to leave you with a reminder of the why behind the Foundations A to Z solution. Foundations A to Z was built on the science of reading. It empowers teachers to develop the confidence needed, regardless of experience level, to effectively teach all foundational skills and instill the joy of learning. I hope that through our time today, you feel that way as well. And I hope that this solution could possibly help you in your journey with science of reading. Before we go, I just want to close with recapping what our goals were for today and the main takeaways that I hope you got from this session. One, we discussed and highlighted the top challenges K-5 teachers face when it comes to teaching foundational skills. Second, we discussed the tenets of science of reading theory in detail. Third, I hope through our sneak peek at Foundations A to Z that you were able to get some tips and strategies that can help you incorporate supplemental science of reading based systematic instruction into your core literacy instruction. And finally, a few takeaways that I hope you take away from today's session. The importance of using and having a scope and sequence that covers all foundational skills for grades K-5, which Foundations A to Z provides for you and which I showed you earlier in this session. Second, having easy to use, explicit, systematic lesson plans, which we also went through today during our sneak peeks. Having job embedded PD at your fingertips to use when you're ready and when you need it most. We also showed you some examples of that today. And finally, having purposeful and engaging digital student materials and games. We saw a little snapshot of that when we went through the students section of our lesson plan. And lastly, I would like to leave you with a little video teaser from Learning A to Z, which will give you just a little more information on the Foundations A to Z solution. Once again, I thank you for your time today and enjoy our teaser video.
In a world where students and teachers meet real challenges, real solutions are needed to grow a love of reading. That's why we're excited to introduce you to Foundations A to Z. Built on the science of reading, Foundations A to Z helps teachers increase their confidence to teach all foundational skills and instill the joy of learning. Featuring a cast of otherworldly characters with fun and unique personalities that students will love watching as they learn. Foundations A to Z improves skills that kindergarten through 5th grade students need to become fluent readers, with videos, materials, and games that engage every student at every level. Need a hand? Foundations A to Z features complete, explicit, and systematic lessons with easy-to-use professional development built in at point of use. Check out Foundations A to Z at Learning A to Z.